Are you sitting comfortably? Then we'll begin.
10 minutes left. Yeah, but there's still some time. It's not the final score. We need more than the numbers we're given. Show us you live and breathe the game. You're more than a name. That's what we came for. We can bring you more than the score. Every story. Let's take this thing off of the field into the real world, away from the numbers,
Well, hello again, and welcome to episode 219 of There's Still Time, the AFTN Soccer Show. I'm your host, Michael Boxall, and Vancouver Whitecaps are best in the West, baby. At least for now, with 7 games remaining. But hey, take the good times when they come, and hopefully there's still a lot more of them ahead. The Caps' 3-0 win over Minnesota at BC Place on Wednesday evening was a fantastic result. One of those games that we've seen in the past, the Caps kind of trip over, don't get the job done when we're expecting them to get done. We've already seen a few times this season that they have struggled against the weaker sides, and Minnesota, certainly one of the weaker sides, not just in the West, but in all of MLS this season. Understandable for an expansion team. But they fought back well in the game in Minnesota, negating the Whitecaps' 2-goal lead to come away with a 2-2 draw. And that was one of the Whitecaps' most disappointing results of the season for me. But there was to be no similar mistakes made at BC Place. Got the job done, even with a changed starting lineup. 6 changes from the team that got the job done on Saturday against Real Salt Lake. And once again, showing the depth that this Whitecaps team have. The fringe players come in, get the job done, get the 3 points, and on this occasion, it was 3 points that took them to first place in the Western Conference. Goes from Jordi Reyna just 5 minutes in. Eric Hurtado, Breck Shea late on, gave the Whitecaps the victory, sets them up nicely to face Columbus on Saturday. 6 points out of 6 so far from this homestand. You're wanting at least 3 wins and a draw from it. Ideally, you want 4 wins, get those 12 points on the board, especially ahead of a tough end to the season that sees the Caps on the road for 4 of the last 5 games. But overall, it was a good performance in that it got the job done. At times, it wasn't the most exciting game, but 3 points is 3 points. So Steve and myself got a chance to chat a little bit about the game afterwards, just while we were kind of hanging around outside the Whitecaps locker room waiting to get some of our interviews done. So here's some of our thoughts on the win and the performance. So Steve, a pretty comfortable 3-0 win for the Whitecaps tonight against Minnesota.
As I predicted.
Yeah, I went for 4-0 and it didn't quite come off.
Thank you, Breck Shea.
What did you make of that overall performance? Sometimes it felt a little bit laboured, but really it was comfortable.
I think that's what it was. It was just a comfortable win for them, and they didn't feel like they have to push as much, which hopefully they could. In the past has hurt them because when they're comfortable, they usually get caught. This time, Minnesota really showed nothing in order to catch Vancouver, and I think that was the biggest factor in the game, that Minnesota really didn't show anything, especially with the way Adrian Heath was talking about after the game.
A perfect start for the Caps. Jordi Reyna getting the goal 5 minutes in. Beautiful ball to his feet by Marcel de Jong, and a great finish. A lot of composure again. 4th goal of the season for Jordi.
Yeah, I don't know. I have to look back at all the goals, but I think that might have been their best ever, over-the-top goal. It was the cleanest, perfect cross right into his feet. The left back was on him, but kind of lost Reyna, and the center back couldn't get back fast enough to cover, and it was just almost like a perfect shot, and it was decent. And then they scored 25 minutes, just after the half-hour mark, another great cross into this one from in close. Breck Shea sending into Hurtado, who kind of just guided it with his chest.
He kind of put his body on the line for that, really, though. I mean, he put himself in front of the goalkeeper, did well. He's worked really hard at training. I know sometimes we've given him a little bit of a hard time, but he does put the work in training, so it's nice to see a player like that getting his reward.
And it was a full effort for him on the pitch. Even when he was hitting the... there were a couple of chances, too, down the road there where he even kind of caused a free kick from just outside the box that we thought was a penalty almost, but it was very close to it. So he was kind of buzzing in and around there. And he's, everybody talks about his finish and everything, but he's an important player to have, especially when you want to cause a havoc with a central defense that isn't very confident at this time.
And then that was pretty much it for the scoring until towards the end. Breck Shea, a lovely ball win by Freddie Montero, and a great header by Shea.
Just guided it perfectly. It was almost slow motion, that header. It felt like Shuttleworth should have got it, but it was probably a perfect angle to get it in the net.
Shea's been such a weird player really this year. You feel he hasn't contributed a lot, but he's got some big goals and he's scoring, and he is doing well for the team.
No, and that's the thing it is. Even a couple times today, it felt like he wasn't fully... I don't want to say he was lazy, but he wasn't fully putting in the effort. It seemed like he was just going on his abilities. And I think if he put everything together, like he did, I think was right after his kid was born, that one game where he put everything together, and that was his best game of the year. So if he puts everything together, he could be a very dangerous player for the Whitecaps, whether starting or off the bench.
And there was a couple of surprises for me in the second half. Tony Chaney, who's a yellow card away from suspension, played the full 90. I really thought Andrew Jacobson would come on. And then bringing Freddie Montero on when the game was 2-0. The game was won. Minnesota really didn't look like they were going to get back in it. Another guy, a yellow card away from a booking, could injure himself. It just seemed really strange bringing him on. Yeah,
no, that was a surprising one because we, after the 2-goal lead, we already started predicting who was going to come on and who was going to come off. And we had two of them, right? The one we thought was going to be was Jacobson for Chaney to save him, but... So maybe he put on Montero in order to get that, because Montero's close to getting a suspension too, but because of yellow card accumulation. And I think maybe putting on 20 minutes, it's a risk, but he doesn't have to do anything dirty, and he can get through another game and reduce that where he can eventually get one game taken off or one card taken away.
The win made it unbeaten in 5 for the Whitecaps, 4 wins out of those 5 games, only 2 defeats in the last 11 matches. Now first in the West. What do they need to do to stay there?
It's just same as always. Just put in the effort. Make sure Robbo picks the right 11. Depending, for example, today he put in Marcel de Jong because he felt tactically that's what he wanted to do. He would provide more. And also, you want to give Jordan Harvey a break. I'm sure Jordan Harvey will come on the weekend. But it's just pick the right players. Don't worry about how well they played in the last game. Pick the right players for the game coming up.
That's great, Steve, and we'll talk to you on Sunday. So good 3 points for Vancouver. Eric Hurtado got the official man of the match. He had a good performance. For me, I think Jordi Reyna would take that. Got the opening goal, got the assist on Hurtado's goal. As we talked about there with Steve, really also got to give credit to Marcel de Jong. An excellent performance in the left-back role. And what a ball to set Reyna up for that opener. For me, him and Reyna were really, really close for man of the match honours, but I'm just going to give it to Reyna. But de Jong did well. Will that see him keep his place against Columbus? Well, we'll find that out soon enough. Jake Nerwinski had another strong showing as well in the right-back role. Clean sheet for David Ousted. No players really put a foot wrong. Breck Shea gets the assist and a goal as well. And that's what you want from a team. You want an all-round team performance. And that's what Vancouver's getting. Still giving up possession. Only 41% possession. Minnesota 59%. But the Caps outshot United 18-9. 9 on target for the Whitecaps. Only 2 on target for Minnesota. Comfortable win. Never in any danger. 3 points well won. So that's some of our thoughts on the game on Wednesday night. Let's hear now from both head coaches. First up, Vancouver's Carl Robinson. Then we're going to hear from a very honest, and he is always a good guy to speak to, Minnesota United's Adrian Heath.
Carl, these kind of games can sometimes be difficult. A team that doesn't have much to play for. Why were you guys so effective tonight?
I think it was a very workmanlike performance. It is a tricky game because Minnesota are where they are in the table, not because they're a bad team. They're a good team. They've got good players. Adrian does a great job there. So we just had to make sure our focus was right, our mentality was right, and we played well. And the boys did that. So they deserve a lot of credit. There was a couple of changes I made for freshness reasons, and they worked. So those guys, every guy deserves a lot of credit.
He was worth waiting for, I guess, wasn't he?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, no, he was good for 60-odd minutes. He really was, and he scores goals, which helps. If you're going to be an attacking player, you need to either score or create. And he does things which he shouldn't do in wrong areas of the field, but he does exciting things in the top third of the pitch. And obviously, it's a wonderful ball by Mars. It's a great touch, and it's a great finish by a quality player.
I know you're not going to want to make too much of it, but first in the West now, apart from winning games, what do you need to do now to stay in that position for the run-in?
No, I won't make much of it, as you know, Michael. We just got to keep ticking along. We've got to keep winning games of football. That game's gone now. It was good performance by the group. Some players got a rest today. Some people were left out. And we'll be training tomorrow. We're back to work tomorrow. We've got a huge game on Saturday against a very good team who's flying in the East as well. So we'll put our total focus onto that. But I don't look at the table. So
really good squads here in the past. You've done well in the past, 2015 especially. This team just feels a little bit different to previous teams. What makes this year's squad different to other squads that you've had here?
Quality. We're able... Unfortunately, you can't turn around a team in 1 year. You'd like to, and too much change, you get criticised because there's no identity and no flow in the team or the club. So you've got to do it bit by bit, and I've done it bit by bit. We've got quality players, and we've got men. We've got a right balance now, and when I talk about my younger players are 23, 24, 25. They've played 100-odd games, so that's the difference this year we've got. There's still areas we need to improve. We still need to be better at certain things and that lot, but when they step across that white line, they give absolutely everything, as you saw today, and it's really, you see me shouting on the side, I want to keep a clean sheet for David and for the back four because they deserve it. Those are the little details we need to get right, and we did today.
The start tonight, tough to concede 2 goals there in the first half. What did you see on both goals?
First one, we spoke about it. We must have showed 20 clips of the ball in behind with the space that they've got up front, getting people round on cover. So we don't hear that lesson, and then it's in the back of the net. The second one, very naive. Between both boxes this evening, we've probably had as much possession and as much controlled football as them. But the harsh reality is both boxes are where it matters. Yeah. And the attacking one and then the defending one. And we were second best in both of them.
Were you expecting them to be that good on
well, I think they're very good on the counter-attack. They've got a lot of pace in the team, no matter who they play. They've rotated a few tonight, and then they've come in with a lot of pace. And but I thought we certainly didn't give ourselves much of a chance by conceding the goals early.
Obviously, you guys aren't, mathematically eliminated or anything from the playoffs, but there's a lot of teams to jump over. What do you guys? What do you tell the players, and what do you expect of them going?
Well, every game's important for us. We are. It's going to be very difficult for us, but we have to keep playing for a lot of things. We're playing for a lot of pride, and we're playing for positions and to be here next year. Because obviously, if you go on the road, you can't play like we've done tonight and expect to win. We've had a couple of really good performances on the road the last couple of weeks. Away in Chicago, played really well in Seattle. Tonight wasn't one of them nights. As I say, I thought we were second best in both boxes where it's important.
Do you look at the game in Chicago and say, we got that road win out of the way, and now if we play like that on the road for the remainder of the season, you can have success?
We can, and we have enough ability into the team to win games on the road. I know that. I know what we're capable of, but I didn't think we had enough fight in us this evening. I thought the most important part of the game is in both boxes, and they were better than us and looked more dangerous in one end and defended the box better than us at the other end. And as I've just said to the players, the bit in between, the mid-third of the field, it's nice and it looks good in possession, but you have to work the penalty area and you have to put people under pressure. I think Usted's maybe had one save all night, maybe two at most. So it wasn't good enough.
Have you seen enough this year to think that there's good, strong foundations for next year?
We have stuff to build on. We do have stuff to build on, but I'm aware, I'm sure everybody in our club is aware that as we are at this moment in time, the squad is not deep enough, and we need to bring players in the summer in the winter to help make sure that we don't go through a year like we've had this year, because we've had too many performances on the road where we haven't been good enough and haven't been competitive enough.
So both the gaffers there. As we said, it was a very comfortable win for Vancouver. Maybe not the flashiest, and you felt that they could and should have maybe added to that scoreline and come away with more than a 3-0 win. But a victory is a victory. 3 points is 3 points. And when it sends you to the top of the Western Conference, you can't really grumble too much. Minnesota, though, as Adrian Heath mentioned there, they do have a tough job ahead of them. A lot of rebuilding going to come in this off-season. There's going to be a lot of personnel changes. They've started already, bringing in Scotsman Sam Nicholson, and a guy that's well known to Vancouver Whitecaps fans. New Zealand international, an original member of the Whitecaps from their 2011 squad, Michael Boxall. Now, Boxall played the full game at BC Place on Wednesday, his 7th start of the season since joining the team in July. And Steve got a chance to catch up with Michael Boxall after the match, just to ask if it was a little bit weird coming back to Vancouver, what has brought him back to MLS, and a lot more besides. So let's hear now from one of the original MLS Whitecaps, Michael Boxall.
Obviously, first of all, your overall thoughts on the game and how it went for you guys.
Not great. I think Vancouver are very good at what they do. They defend well and dangerous on the counter, and I think on a few of the goals we were just a bit too naive, and as a new team in the league you need to learn very quickly, and to be giving up goals like that this late down the stretch, we should be better than that.
It's been like 5 years for you. 4 years. 4 years since your return. 4 years, whatever it is.
It's a long time.
Yeah. Did you see yourself coming back? How kind of odd is it for you for the return?
To come back to Vancouver?
Yeah, come back. Did you think it was going to happen again, or
to come back to the MLS?
Yeah, MLS to Vancouver.
I mean, I had some great memories here. It's obviously a great city, and but I think just the way with the move worked out, it was just good timing for me and my family to move from where we were to a good environment, and obviously another big challenge being an expansion team that we have to embrace and just keep improving to get better than we were tonight.
Back in 2011, 2012, were there any, I know it was an expansion team then too, and it was a tough couple of years there. Yeah. Were there any fond memories? Do you have any fond memories of that time, or because it was your first professional team as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, my rookie year, I did learn a lot, and I think just quite a few memories just we just had great guys on that team. Demir, Roshat, Kimiento, Nanchoff. Still keeping in touch with a few of them. I was hoping to see Jordan Harvey tonight, but I hope he's doing well. Obviously a lot of fond memories. Obviously a beautiful city. I don't think you can never come here and not like it here. So I don't think I realized how much I kind of missed it, like the beauty of the city, and obviously very good fans here tonight. It's just, so as soon as I got here, it just reminded me of that.
You're obviously the first Kiwi to play for the Whitecaps, but now it's kind of a Kiwi Central here. The three of your teamemates, international teammates, do you kind of remind them when you see them that you were the first and you kind of were a trailblazer for New Zealand?
No, not really. I think it seems like a whole different club now to what it was back then. So obviously Robbo's done a great job with the team. Have a lot of respect for him, and he's obviously taken them a long way, and they're doing very well due to his hard work. So but with the Kiwi players, every time I meet up with them in the national team, they just remind me of stories of just how much they love the city, and it brings back those good memories.
Did you talk to Stefan at all when he came to Vancouver? Like, he never played in the MLS before and he had some MLS experience. Did you give him any advice about the MLS game or just coming to North America to play soccer?
No, he did reach out to me, and we just shot a few messages back and forth. And I mean, he's been outstanding for our national team, and I think he's really going to push for that number one spot. He's a great shot stopper, and I don't think anyone can hate Vancouver, so he's going to love it here.
And just on Declan Wynn, he's playing for the reserve team right now, but obviously for the national team on the back line. What in his game do you see as he grows into a player? Still a young guy.
I think he's had outstanding games for the national team. He isn't obviously still a very young player. Likes to get up and down. He's got good quality in the final third, and obviously I can't speak much about the work he's done here, but every time I speak to him in the national team, he's always puts in a lot of hard work, and can only hope that he progresses, hopefully for the first team.
After you left the Whitecaps, obviously you went back home. How was that experience, bringing the MLS experience back to Wellington and obviously the A-League?
I think the A-League and the MLS were kind of similar back then. I think the MLS just maybe a touch ahead, but I think going back was a fairly tough situation because I was behind two solid starters who had a partnership for the previous 4 or 5 years, so it's tough to break into that. So I think after getting let go here and then finding myself in that situation, you really have to take each day as it comes to get better. And I think since I'm back here, it's kind of proof to that just keep working, and even a team turns you away at one point, there's always a way to get back if you keep working at it.
You moved on to South Africa at that time. Did that kind of re-energize you because you got way more starts and you were kind of more involved in the game itself? Or?
Yeah, for sure. I think in the Wellington situation I didn't feel I was getting the opportunities I deserved, so I had to look elsewhere, and South Africa was a pretty cool opportunity that came up, and loved playing there. Great lifestyle, and obviously got to win a few trophies there, so that was nice. And just get a few more games under the belt, and as you say, just get a bit more experience, because as a defender you can only get that by playing games. So
obviously you weren't there before 2010 for their World Cup, but obviously Canada is coming up with possibly hosting in 2026. What kind of game how is the league in South Africa, and how does it look? Is it very professional, or is it compared to MLS maybe?
Not as professional as MLS. I think because there's no salary cap, you get the top 5-6 teams who spend money, and they're very competitive, and obviously there's quite a few of the teams use the infrastructure from the World Cup, so that's top class still. Obviously when you get down the tail end of the table, there's few average teams that don't quite spend the money on facilities and stuff. So I mean, overall, I had a great experience there, and obviously put me in good stead to come here. And
it also kind of put you more in the national team picture too, I think, with your experience there. Obviously the Confederation Cup, you just came off that. Is that what kind of put you on the radar for MLS in Minnesota, your play there, and how much you impressed there?
Yeah, I think so. A little bit of that, and I think the Confederations Cup, and then also when we played the US national team, it would have been almost a year ago now.
Yeah.
I think the whole team put in a solid performance, and maybe a few people took notice then, and then when...
Kind of built off that.
Yeah. So then, and then 12 months later into the Confeds Cup, when I was coming off contract, I started making a few calls, and this opportunity came up.
Obviously now you joined the team halfway through, but it's an expansion team. Second time with an expansion team is not as fun when you're not winning as many games. But do you see the foundations in this team going forward to next year?
I think so. I think off the field the club have, no disrespect at all to Vancouver, the club off the field have seemed to have put the foundations there to be successful. Training facilities and everything that we looked after, it's top class. And obviously when you put 28 guys together who've never played together, it's always going to be a struggle, and But I think with the struggles of a typical expansion team, I think we've ticked off some milestones that I don't think we did in Vancouver in my first season. So obviously we've still got a long way to go, but off the field everything is rock solid. Yeah.
What do you see any other subtle changes? And you talk about the training facility. Obviously, Vancouver now has a training facility, proper one. But do you see any other changes in MLS, like in your like recent travels, considering 2011, like when you were visiting other teams? Do you see any other changes in how the league works and other stuff?
I think just it has improved. Like each team has improved. Like off the field, there's just so much more fresh. I mean, I remember.
And the skill level on the pitches too, probably.
Yeah. So first of all, I remember just going to San Jose and they were playing in the college stadium, and now they've got a top class facility. And then obviously with the money comes the higher level of players, and you see what was on show tonight. Obviously Vancouver have done well with their recruiting and have some number 10s or dangerous little playmakers who kind of proved the difference tonight.
Perfect. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
So Michael Boxall there, returning to Vancouver to play a match for the first time since 2012, and a first MLS match in Vancouver for the first time since 2011. Boxall, of course, as we talked about there, a member of the first ever Whitecaps MLS squad, made 19 appearances in that inaugural 2011 season, which of course was something of a season to forget for the Whitecaps, and there was a couple of really good individual performances that year, but on a whole the team just really struggled, looked out of their depth in their first year in MLS, and looked the same for Minnesota as they came into the league this year, but they have started to show some signs of life and turn some things about, not sitting bottom of the West, just kind of indicating just how poorly Colorado Rapids are this year. But Boxall made 19 appearances in that 2011 MLS season, kind of thrown into action in his rookie year with the injury to Jay DeMerit. After Martin Rennie came in 2012, his time here was numbered, and played some reserve team games but never made another MLS start, and then moved on in 2012 to head back to New Zealand to play with Wellington Phoenix, as we talked about there. But we wish him well in Minnesota. He's just one of a number of Kiwis that are over plying their trade in North America and in MLS right now. We've got 4 here in Vancouver. Stefan Marinovic obviously on the MLS team. Meyer Bevan, Declan Wynn, Francis de Vries on WFC2 team. Portland Timbers have a couple of guys. Jake Gleason, the goalkeeper being kept out of the team by our very own Stefan Marinovic. And a guy that not too many folk are going to maybe know too much about, but Bill Taloma, a midfielder, just a 22-year-old, he's with Portland as well. And if you just look at New Zealand's squad for their last 2 matches, the World Cup qualifiers against the Solomon Islands, a lot of MLS talent in there. Aside from the Whitecaps, Marinovic, Wynn and Bevan, you had Boxall from Minnesota United, Kip Colvey from San Jose Earthquakes, and Sporting Kansas City's James Musa. So I guess keeping our Kiwi theme going for a little bit, I got a chance to speak to Stefan Marinovic on Tuesday at training. We had a chat about a number of things, some of which is going to be featured in our extra podcast this month for subscribers, so make sure you check that out. But I also asked him about getting his debut in MLS early. Came here at the start of July, quickly got an MLS start in the away match in New England, a 1-0 loss. Followed that up, of course, by playing in the 2-1 win in Orlando. So I asked him on Tuesday just how important it was for him to get those early minutes out the way, kind of get his feet wet in MLS and his new league and a new environment. And Marinovic, being the laid-back guy he is, it's not overly important to him. So with so many Kiwis in MLS and USL now, I asked Stefan if the last time he was over with New Zealand for those 2 matches with the Solomon Islands, if people were asking him what it's like over here and if some of the players that aren't here already were just expressing an interest in coming over. So let's just hear a little bit now from Stefan Marinovic. You've made a couple of starts now in MLS. Is it good to get those out the way early and kind of find your feet in the league?
I don't see it a problem about getting them out of the way early. Debut or not. I mean, debut is always special, especially in a new league, but it's not exactly for me. I don't know. I see every game similar. If I was to see one game more important than the other, like playing against the Solomons is less important than playing in the MLS and vice versa, then I wouldn't be as probably composed as I am on the pitch as what I hope and think I am. So I think it's important that I keep my feet on the ground and always just play.
And when you were back there just now, obviously you're here now and Jake Leeson's been here and Michael Boxall's coming here tomorrow. Do you get lots of questions from the other guys about what it's like over here? Are other New Zealand players interested in coming over?
Not really, not that, because I haven't been, I get home with the national team and all those guys are playing professionally and a lot of them in Europe and, I don't really get asked, how it is. I mean, everyone respects, they respect the level of the MLS, and obviously if you're playing, like, some of them Premier League, Premier League and some Eredivisie, I mean, that's Europe, right? I mean, that's that's probably the goal of every young footballer is to make it into Europe. But that's not to say that the MLS isn't a pathway for some players.
Now, Michael Boxall wasn't the only ex-returning Whitecap that we're going to see in action at the BC Place pitch this week. There's going to be a lot of them in action, actually, on Saturday. Before the big game against Columbus, it's the Whitecaps alumni against a celebrity all-stars team. So a lot of well-known ex-faces are going to be taking the pitch in that one. Jay DeMerit and Davide Cumiento, coming back for the first time since that inaugural 2011 season to play in a Whitecaps jersey. But of course the big returnee this weekend is going to be Kekuta Manneh. Coming back with Columbus to play against the Whitecaps for the first time ever. Traded to Columbus, of course, at the end of March in an exchange with Tony Chaney. We spoke to Tony Chaney on Sunday's show, episode 218 of the podcast, if you want to check that out. Just about the move and Chaney coming here and his memories of Columbus and what he's going to be feeling kind of facing his old team on Saturday. Now, Kekuta, of course, spent just over 4 seasons here in Vancouver. A lot of highs, some lows during that time. 104 overall MLS appearances in regular season and playoffs. 22 goals and 12 assists in his time here. Such an exciting player when he was on his game. Sometimes consistency let him down. Injuries, of course, hampered his time here. But it was a big surprise when Manneh was traded at the end of March. And it's going to be very strange, very mixed emotions for Kekuta when he comes back to play in BC Place on Saturday. Wearing another team's jersey, changing in the away team's locker room. It's going to kind of feel a very surreal experience for him and the fans seeing him on the pitch playing against the Whitecaps. So I got a chance to chat with Kekuta this week on the telephone, just ahead of him making the trip out west, just about that trade, his time in Vancouver, and just what it's going to be like for him taking the pitch on Saturday. So let's hear now from Kekuta Manneh. Hi, Kekuta. Long time no speak.
I know, it's been a while.
I guess you're going to be a really busy man this week. There's going to be a lot of people wanting to speak with you. What's your emotions like coming back to Vancouver then for the first time as part of another team?
Yeah, it definitely will be different. I'm excited. I think it'll be fun. Just playing. Hopefully, I get a chance to play in front of amazing, disciplined crowd. The best fans in the league, and for me, that's the best part about the trip. That's what I'm looking forward to most, playing in front of that crowd. So I had the opportunity, and I've been lucky. I did that for about 4.5 years, and I can't wait to do it one more time. With a different team.
Just going back a little bit then to March, the trade caught me by surprise, caught a lot of people by surprise. Did you have any idea that the Whitecaps were looking to move you on, or was it a big surprise to you as well?
A bit of both. It's just the situation. We tried to negotiate a contract, and it fell through. We didn't agree on terms, and I knew it was my last year, and just from past experience, what happened with Kobe as well. So it was in the back of my mind that there's a chance that I don't think Whitecaps is going to gamble. I think they're going to try to get something out of it, and I knew at some point there was going to be a trade of some sort. I don't know where it's going to be, but I knew there was going to be a trade. But it did caught me by surprise. I would say, yeah, definitely a bit of both, because I knew. I think I didn't know for a fact, but I kind of had a feeling there was something going on, because I didn't play in Mexico, the CONCACAF game.
Yeah.
I didn't play in that game, and supposedly it was the biggest game in the Whitecaps history, and so I started to ask myself questions. So I came to the conclusion. I was like, yeah, there's definitely something. They're definitely trying to move me. There's no reason for me not to play that game. And the following game we played Toronto, and I only played 15 minutes. And I came to the conclusion. It's like, yeah, definitely. Something is happening here. I might be getting traded. And then the Thursday, I training. I was not in the squad. I was gonna face LA Galaxy as well. Sorry, this is on Wednesday or Tuesday or Wednesday. I was not in the first team. I was gonna face the Galaxy. And after training, I wasn't asked to do any extras or anything. So I was left alone. And from there, I knew by the end of the week I'll be gone.
Yeah, it's such a shame, but when you look back at your time in Vancouver, what's your overriding memories? Obviously happy times, you made a lot of good friends here, and sad to leave, but do you look back at your years here with fondness?
Yeah, I look back and I said, it's such a great place for me to start my career. I wouldn't want to be in any other environments to start my career, and I think it taught me a lot. I grow a lot from the first day I've been in Vancouver now till the last day. I feel like I learned a lot. Have been to be in a new city and a different country, and it taught me a lot. I think I enjoyed my time in Vancouver, and looking back at it now, I can be happy and saying I did what I did, and I was happy with what I did in Vancouver, and I'm proud to go back to that city and with my head held up.
The hat trick you got in Seattle, that's probably the big memory that's going to live with everyone for a long time here. Do you put that down? Is that like your best experience in a Whitecaps jersey? Was that game in Seattle?
I think, yeah, definitely one of them. That was a special night for me as an individual as well, for the club. But it was looking back at it now, it was a special night for me. But we had an unbelievable team that year. It took us a while to get gel together, but towards the end of the season, I thought we did well, and I was fortunate enough to play with such amazing players, Camilos and Rio Cocas and Andy O'Brien, Kobe Assis, and it was great. They made it easier, but it was good. I think winning the Canadian Championship too was probably that, and winning the Canadian Championship probably the biggest memories for me I had in Whitecap jersey.
Do you miss the drive to and from Point Roberts, or are you glad that you don't have to do something like that anymore? I do miss it. I came to be accustomed to that place. I love it. It's
it's a nice way to get out of the city, to get out of trouble, just to have a clear mind. That's what I thought that was good for me. It's far away. Once I get in, I can't leave till the next practice. So it was very good for me. There was not a lot of people there. I can hang about and relax. It was on the beach, and it was very very relaxing for me. A place to get away. So I loved it. I do miss it a little bit. Not the drive, but I miss going to Port Robert.
So you're in Columbus now. It's been a kind of, I guess, a bit of a stop-start year for you. 3 goals, 2 assists. You've done well when you have played, but you've not been getting regular starts. I know I don't want to get you in trouble, but I mean, has it been frustrating just being in and out of the team so much there?
Yeah, it has. It has been frustrating. I say maybe when I first came here, it was more frustrating than it is now. Because coming here, I expected to play. I thought I was going to play right away, and that wasn't the case, obviously. But it is frustrating. But one thing I learned about myself, and I came to realize that I'm a very patient person. I was very patient. And it was not. There was not a day that I went to the manager. I get angry or pissed. I go to the manager's office and tell him why am I not playing. I bit my tongue, and I work hard at training and did the extras I need to do. And when I got my chance, I thought I played well, contributed a lot. Scored a couple of important goals and assists, and played well. Not necessarily score assists some games, but I thought I played very, very well. But sometimes the decisions don't go your way. But the manager looked the other way. Sometimes that's how it goes, and I'm still just gonna fight, and hopefully I get it. I get it sometime in Vancouver. I think I will really appreciate that. Playing in front of that crowd again, and just looking up the atmosphere, that the energy of the stadium. I definitely miss that, and it'll be nice. Definitely nice to at least get a few minutes in that game.
I think everyone's hoping that they can see you. As weird it's going to be seeing you coming out of a different locker room and in a different shirt. We're all hoping to see you on Saturday. But when you first went to Columbus, like Greg, he made comments about that you weren't up to the fitness levels that they were expecting, which raised some eyebrows here because you had been playing here. Was it a case that they just have maybe higher expectations of where they thought the players should be at that stage of the season than what they had here in Vancouver?
Yeah, so I thought they had different expectations. I thought it was a little bit unfair. My evaluation was a little bit unfair. I got here on, when the trade happened on Friday, Thursday or Friday, I can't remember exactly what day. So I got on a flight on a Friday. It happened on Thursday. I got on a flight on Saturday and Friday to try to come to be unveiled for the to the fans. So I came in. My flight didn't get until 12 a.m. That night, Saturday morning, and then I had to go to the hotel, get set, go to sleep right away. I woke up. By the time I'd have to be at the stadium at 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. Did the unveil, watched the game, and the next day they had a reserve game that I had to play in. I played in that reserve game, and obviously I was tired, so and that's how they evaluated me. From that game, they thought the numbers would be better than they were, but I traveled across the country, a day and the whole day, and I thought it was a bit unfair, anyways. But that's how it is sometimes. They thought my standards should be a lot better than it was at the time, and I disagreed. I still disagree, but that's in the past, and now looking forward to the rest of the season and see how I do here.
So just last thing, the team Columbus is right in the playoff mix just now. It'll be a surprise if you guys don't make it to the postseason. Obviously, Toronto's running away with things in the East right now, but in the playoffs, anything can happen. You must feel that it's a talented enough team that you can make a real go at it in the postseason this year.
Yeah, I think so. I think we're all very, very confident here. We've been, happy. We had a really good start and, a slow mid-season, and now, picking back up again. I think, the quality here and, some of the players and the way the system, the way we want to play, and, once we get it to a tier, and I don't think there's a team in the league who can, stay with us, who can stop us from, achieving our goals. I think sometimes we let ourselves down a little bit with, the final finish or, the final third quality. It's obviously there, but sometimes we let ourselves down. The thing is, we keep scoring goals, and sometimes we need to see out this game, some of the games. I think once we figure it out, and I think we are right now, we're having a good run. I think if we can keep everyone healthy and have everyone buy into what we're doing, I think we have a chance of winning the MLS Cup. I think everybody's really confident with the way things are going. Right, happy with the way things are going, and everybody's very confident. And I can see it day in, day out at training, and I'm really, really impressed. I've played with a lot of good players in Vancouver. We had, a really good team, and especially 2015, that team was unbelievable. Yeah. And, it just gave me similar, a bit of a deja vu, similar kind of in skill and the qualities that we have, and, the run of well, I think bringing definitely a little bit of a boost in that second third. And I think, finally figuring, the system out and, how we want to play. And if we can carry that towards the postseason, I think we will be the team to watch.
That's great. Thank you so much for your time today, Kekuta. I'm looking forward to seeing you on Saturday. I can't wish you too much good luck on Saturday, but for the rest of the season, hopefully it's good. Maybe a Columbus-Vancouver final, but thanks so much for everything, Kekuta.
All right, thank you. No worries. Thank you so much. It was great talking to you.
Yeah, I'll see you Saturday.
Yellow swag, Columbus crew. Yellow swag, Columbus crew. Yeah, yellow swag, Columbus crew.
It was great to catch up with Kekuta again there. Spoke to him so many times over the years. We had a really good relationship. He was always very open with me, always very happy to chat with us, do all our weird stuff that we do here on the show. And yeah, it was sad to see him move on. From a Whitecaps perspective, I think it has been a very good trade. Definitely think we've got maybe the better out of that trade than Columbus did. Kekuta has been used very sparingly for Columbus so far this season. 14 appearances heading into Saturday, only 8 of them starts. But when he has played, he's really contributed to the team. 3 goals, 2 assists, 19 shots in those matches. He's going to be a threat on the pitch if he gets on, but in 3 of the last 4 matches he has been an unused substitute. You heard from him there, he really hopes that he gets the chance to play in front of the BC Place fans again. He's going to get a good reception. If he gets on the score sheet, that'd be great, as long as it's not a decisive goal in the game. But yeah, we're looking forward to seeing him back here, and it was great catching up with him again. Now, a funny thing about our chat with Kekuta. Spoke to him on Tuesday. He was at a baseball game in Ohio, and he never mentioned to me that the team was actually flying out on Wednesday. So Kekuta and the Columbus Crew team landed in Vancouver on Wednesday afternoon, and Scooter was at the Whitecaps game on Wednesday night, cheering on his old friend Eric Hurtado. Eric had told him beforehand he was going to get a goal for him, true to his word he did. So we could have saved ourselves a phone bill and spoken to him just at the game, but at least we got a really good chat on Tuesday, and had a little chat with him at half-time as well, and it's just great to see him back in Vancouver. Robbo was speaking to him after the game as well, and he's all smiles. Super nice guy. Wish him really well for the future. But of course we can't wish him too well on Saturday. As I said, maybe get a goal, just as long as it's not a meaningful one in terms of the result. So Columbus Crew come to town. Tony Chaney faces his old side, Kekuta faces his old side, and it's going to be a tough game for the Whitecaps. Columbus are sitting 4th in the Eastern Conference standings just now, 43 points from their 29 games, 13 wins, 12 defeats, 4 draws on the year, goal difference of 0, 43 goals for, 43 goals against, and I think that in a nutshell just kind of shows you the inconsistency and one of the things that has plagued Columbus this season so far. At home, they're excellent. 10 wins, 2 draws, only 3 defeats from their 15 games. On the road, completely different story. 3 wins, 2 draws, 9 defeats. They started the season strong. Undefeated in 4 of their first 5 games, 3 of those being wins. Then they kind of went in a bit of a slump, a lot of losses, a few wins peppered in there as well. But they're coming to Vancouver, undefeated in 5, facing a Vancouver team undefeated in 5. Columbus, 3 wins and 2 draws in that 5-game stretch. And they're going to come here full of confidence, knowing as well that they're playing for playoff positioning in the East. By no means guaranteed that they are going to be in the postseason, but you have to look at the rest of the Eastern Conference standings, and it would be very surprising to me if Columbus were to falter now. They have 5 games remaining, but they should be certs to at least make it into the postseason. Not in one of the top 2 positions, not getting a bye. But sometimes it's better for a team to be in form and just to keep that run going and not to have any time off. Now, Columbus are a dangerous side, and they're starting to play some of the football that kind of got them their good run in 2015 where they made it all the way to the MLS Cup until, sadly, losing to Portland Timbers in one hell of a game, really. On the goal front, their big danger man, of course, is Ola Kamara. 15 goals in the year. He is so dangerous in the box, and he's a guy that the Whitecaps are going to have to pay very close attention to. Kendall Waston and Tim Parker in particular are really going to have their hands full dealing with him, but they've definitely got it in him to do that. Not too far behind him in the goal scoring stakes is Justin Meram on 11 and Federico Higuain on 9. Kekuta Manneh is actually 4th on the team in scoring with 3 goals, and considering he's only had 8 starts and 14 appearances on the year, that's pretty good going for Kekuta. Higuain and Meram as well are the guys that are providing the assists. 7 from both of them. The Whitecaps just can't give any of these guys time to play. They've given up possession to so many teams this year. I've talked about it in previous shows. At some point, they are going to come across a team that's really going to punish them and not let them get away with giving up so much possession. Columbus could be one of those teams. But the Whitecaps' counter-attacking play on the flip side is really going to punish a Columbus defence that does give up goals. They're there for the taking, and it's really, I think, going to be a case of what defence holds firm. What defence blinks first and gives up the goals. I'm confident the Caps can get the job done. Also wouldn't be surprised if we just come away with maybe a 1-1 or a 2-0 draw. My prediction though is going to be a very narrow 2-1 and hard-fought Whitecaps victory, extending the lead at the top of the Western Conference and giving them something really to build on as they face worst team in the West, Colorado Rapids, the week after. Fingers crossed that's correct. We'll be back on Sunday to discuss that and a whole lot more as well on the AFTN Soccer Show on CITR Radio, 101.9 FM if you're listening in the Lower Mainland, CITR.ca online, 11 o'clock on Sunday. And that's it for this episode of the podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Hope you've enjoyed it. You can give Steve a follow on Twitter at WhitecapsBeat. I'm Michael McCall. You can give me a follow on Twitter at AFTN Canada. Read our stuff away from the numbers, AFTN.ca. Got a lot of Whitecap stuff up on that this week, some local soccer stuff as well. If you fancy some live soccer on Friday night, UBC Thunderbirds have a double header at Thunderbird Stadium. The women kick off at 5:30, the men at 7:30. Myself and Gideon Hill will have the call for that as well. AFTN are the broadcast partners for UBC Thunderbirds this season. And talking of partners, this podcast is brought to you in partnership with bcsoccerweb.com. your one-stop site for all the local, national and international news and links. So that is it for this episode of the podcast. As always, thanks for listening. Take care, and until next time, Mon the Caps.
When you're listening on some far-flung corner of the globe to the World Service of a Saturday afternoon, crackly reception, interference, cosy, marvellous. Somehow comforting, isn't it? You know, legendary names, fathers and sons on the terraces, cheesy peas at half-time, pint for dad, mum's at home making the tea. Everything's all right with the world, isn't it? Saturday afternoon is football.